Those who cannot learn from history are doomed to repeat it. They say the infamous Roman Emperor Nero fiddled while Rome burned in the Great Fire of 64 AD, but since Donald Trump, who recently declared himself the king, has a musical acumen akin to jerking off two imaginary dicks to a gay anthem, he decided it would be far less humiliating to simply play golf as he vigorously fuels the flames of his own nation's expedient decline. But when you find out in this breaking story exactly how much taxpayer money Trump has wasted on golf alone in the first month of his second term, I guarantee it'll have you saying,
"The king."
Now, it's no secret or surprise that Donald Trump and his cronies at the Department of Gaslighting Everyone have taken to the federal government like blind butchers, chopping away some of the most crucial programs and agencies in the name of cutting costs and saving taxpayers' money. But ironically, even as DOGE points out 5- and 6-figure contracts and grants as wasteful, they have ignored each of Trump's 7-figure golf trips to date. And in fact, a search of posts by DOGE on Twitter found 0 mentions of the word golf. And as Jordan Leibowitz of the watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington points out, quote, "It's clear that when the Trump administration considers the definition of corruption and wasteful spending, it doesn't count spending that ends up in the president's pockets. By visiting his for-profit businesses roughly a third of his days in office, Trump is directing government spending to follow him there and profiting off the trip." And we'll break down the specifics of the insane figures Trump is blowing on golf while DOGE ignores it in just a second, but it's worth noting the disastrous effects that these frivolous cuts have already had. On the note of crashing and burning, let's break down this timeline of events from Brian Tyler Cohen about just one agency feeling the burn, the Federal Aviation Administration. January 20th, Trump guts the FAA. The 22nd, Trump disbands the Aviation Security Advisory Committee, declares he has ended DEI and restored excellence and safety in air travel. Then on the 23rd, a plane crashes in Columbia, California. The 29th, the first commercial plane crash in 16 years over Washington, D.C. 67 people die. The 31st, a plane crashes in Philadelphia. February 1st, plane crashes near Ennis, Texas. The 5th, Japan Airlines plane strikes Delta flight on runway in Seattle. Crash. People on board found dead. Crash. Military fighter jet. Crash. Trump fires hundreds of FAA employees on the 15th after many of these have already happened. Same day, plane crashes. 2 planes crash in Texas the next day. Just a few days ago, the plane departing from Minnesota crashes in Toronto, flips upside down. Thankfully, people are safe. We made a video on that if you want to check it out. And just yesterday, a plane crashes in Marana, Arizona. So from that example alone, I think we can all agree it's not exactly hyperbolic to make this analogy about America burning. More on that at the end. But now, let's shift to how Trump spends a shocking amount of his time and our taxpayer money, in his own words, saving the country and thus not breaking any laws. And if all of this hasn't already shocked and enraged you, well, I promise the dollar amount and specifics will, especially when you consider how much Trump spent golfing in his first term.
According to a new analysis by ABC News, Donald Trump has spent slightly more than 22% of his time in office at a golf course. Now, I know a lot of Republicans like to dismiss these stories and say, who cares? Obama golfed. Yeah, Obama golfed. But Obama didn't spend nearly 25% of his entire presidency golfing.
Yeah, that was from 2017. And by the end of his first term, Trump had spent almost a year's worth of time on golf courses. In 2017, Trump spent 3 months' time, 91 days on the course. 2018, he spent 75 days. 2019, 87 days. And in 2020, Trump spent 54 days playing golf, even during the deadliest year of the U.S. since World War II. Flash cut to today, a trip to the Super Bowl, a joyride at the Daytona 500, golf trips to Doral later, and we get to the find out portion of our historical levels of around to see that Donald Trump has had a golf trip each of the 4 weekends since he came back to the presidency on January 20th, and he has now played golf at his own properties on 9 of his first 30 days in office. All that to the tune of $10.7 million of taxpayer money already spent for Trump to play golf. And this is based on reporting from the Huffington Post, who says that their tally is based on a 2019 report by the Government Accountability Office breaking down the cost of Trump's trips to Mar-a-Lago, his Palm Beach, Florida country club, during his first term. They calculated a total cost of $3,383,250 for each trip, with about a third of that going to the flight cost of Air Force One for the round trip, additional expenses for flying down vehicles, including 2 presidential limousines for Trump's motorcade and reimbursing the Coast Guard for stationing a gunship in the Atlantic Ocean just off the coast, and heavily armed boats in the intercoastal waterway. And you can imagine, based off what Trump's gone through in the past few years, that now he'll likely have even more security, notwithstanding the costs of literally everything going up from inflation and Trump doing nothing to bring down the prices. If that's not let them eat cake enough for you, there's more. The golf-related expenses, which are likely to recur most weekends while Trump is in office, have somehow flown below the radar of Elon Musk and his high IQ team, as Trump calls them, of programmers who are ransacking their way through the federal budget and labeling items they do not like or appear to not understand as fraud. And I don't know about you, but I don't really feel like Trump is the one to be labeling people high IQ, considering, well...
They went to Trump and they were like, we need you to pull out of the World Health Organization. Then Trump was like, who? And they were like, yes. And he was like, yes, what? And they were like, who? And he's like, who? And they were like, that's what we're saying. Who's who? And then he was like, I'll do what you want me to do, but I just need to know who it is. And it's like, who is who it is? That's who we want you to do it to. We have to pull out of who? Pull out? Who? Where? Yes, because we believe that who is dangerous. Who is dangerous? Yes, who is dangerous? Where is who? Well, sir, who's all over the world? Who is dangerous all over the world? Yes, that's why we have to pull out of who. I'm not in who, by the way. I'm just standing here. We're just gonna put it on a piece of paper and we need you to sign it. All right.
So do me a favor, if you actually care about calling out this corruption and trying to save this nation from the dementia-ridden arsonist in the Oval Office, drop a like on the video, share it with your friends, hell, with a maggot if you can, and consider subscribing to the Really American Network to join the resistance. Also, side note, if you made it this far, the Nero rumor is just a rumor, but it's actually historically inaccurate. Nero played the liar. The fiddle wasn't even invented until centuries later. So drop me a line in the comments if you caught that and if you made it this far into the video. Thank you all for watching. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse. I'll see you guys in the next one.
For the first time in presidential history, golf should be an issue in the presidential campaign. The golfiest president in the history of the presidency has now played golf 247 times at massive taxpayer expense. Most of the government money spent on Donald Trump's trips to golf courses is paid to Donald Trump.